thanks, listeners, for jumping on with Elko Live today. We're very happy to be here with the Executive Director of the Terrace at Ruby View. Matt McCarty is here, and of course the Terrace is our senior and active lifestyle center. Matt, always great to catch up. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. We always love being able to come on in and share with the community things that are happening at the Elko Senior Center, and we greatly appreciate that you have given us that opportunity as well. So thank you.
Hey, it is my pleasure, and I think seeing your your list, not just we're going to talk about volunteers, but seeing your list of new members grow, Matt, that really fills my heart. You guys are the ones doing the great job.
Oh, thank you. It is amazing to see the new faces coming in and some of the old friends as well. So they're not all new faces. They are some old friends as well that maybe have never come into the senior center. And it's funny because there are people that, I'm not old enough to go to the senior center. And well, you are, but it's okay. It still has this stigma of, that's the old folks' home, and it really isn't. It is so lively. In fact, today it was really, really cool. We had a really great turnout for lunch, over 135 people for lunch. And
that's because you have French dip sandwiches.
Yes, the French dip sandwich was definitely
I'm just
help.
kidding. Lots of reasons,
but,
yes.
But yeah, and then we had a line of people outside in this, blustery, cold temperatures, standing in line for the Produce on Wheels. The Northern Nevada Food Bank Produce on Wheels truck comes up once a month. And so we had a packed dining room, and we still had, in fact, when I left, we had people that were still standing in line to be able to get the fresh produce that the Northern Nevada Food Bank offers. And it's a wonderful program. We've heard that we are one of the busiest, I guess, of the rural routes that come through. Our community certainly is benefiting from this program, and by showing that support by participating, it also indicates that we have some, not only some needs, but also, again, that we are supporting the Northern Nevada Food Bank as well, because they can use those numbers to help support their mission and their program.
Matt, that really does tell a story alongside that of even our other community partners at Fish, Friends and Service Helping. And then, of course, I've been following the Underdog Ministries a little bit more on social media. There are a lot of needs. People may be surprised. And it's not just a hungry traveler that's going through. These are people that live in our community.
Yes, ma'am. And it is something that we've seen, because we do provide meals, but we also provide a pantry option as well, and we do see those costs go up. And it is something that when you're just working and it's a day-to-day thing, and you have to go to the grocery store once a week, and you just kind of do it, and it's just routine.
Or you have a spouse or partner to help you.
Yes, you don't necessarily think about that, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, where did that come from? But a good number of our population, especially those that are most vulnerable, our senior population, they have to make those choices of, am I paying the water bill this month, or am I going to be able to get fresh produce? And those are the decisions that they have to make. We're very blessed at the Senior Center in that the vast majority of our members are not in that situation. They still have limited incomes, and they still have to be careful with where their purchases are, but they don't have to make those type of choices. But we also see those that come up that do have to make those type of choices. And it's kind of sad. We've had people that have come in, and we see them for 3 or 4 or 5 days, and then we don't see them for about a week, and then we see them again for about another week, and we'll have our other members come up and say, hey, I'm pretty sure I saw them panhandling outside Walmart. Is there something we can do? And these are our seniors that are doing this. And so we talk to them and give them the resources that we can. And they, whether it's because they're jaded, whether it's because of other situations that they've experienced, they've said, no, I don't like the way that, other areas support us, or I don't want to have to go through the government because it just is bureaucracy, and they don't want that. And so when we can partner with these other organizations, when we can pair them up with fish. We can pair them up with the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. It's wonderful to be able to see the community pull together to help our neighbors.
Oh, thank you, Matt. And that is important to know that the Terrace at Ruby View, the Senior Center, meets people where they are. So you're not imposing anything. You're not restricting them. You're not telling them, well, if you don't want to participate, then you can't have food. That's just not happening.
No, not at all. And it's funny. We'll get a new person that comes through, and they say, well, because what I do is in the dining room, I try to greet just about everybody, and it's twofold. Obviously, I want to see our friends and our members, but then we also track the people that are coming in, because that's how we get our money from the state as well. And every time we see somebody, we make sure they're signed in. So if we see a new face, we'll say, oh, are you a member of ours? Well, how much does it cost? Well, it doesn't cost anything. All we need really is your name and your date of birth. We'd like to get more information, but if you can just give us your name and your date of birth, that's all it is, and then we can go ahead and go from there. If you'd like to, throw $3 in the kitty for your meal today, we'd gladly accept it, but that isn't required at all.
Thanks, Matt. Matt McCarty is the director of the Terrace at Ruby View, our senior and active lifestyle center, helping not only our seniors, but our community in so many different ways. You're proving the need and then providing for the needs.
Yeah, we are trying to provide for the needs the best we can, and we have some wonderful partners, and we're also getting to that point where we're starting to expand out as well. And we're working with an organization to help us secure additional grants, or at least identify additional potential donors on a foundation status level, and then be able to continue to bring those funds in, because it's not sustainable, the increases that we're seeing in food costs. We do track that every week. We know what it is that we're spending, what's going out the door, where that's fitting with our budget, how much our meal costs are, and we have seen increases on that, even as we've tried to be more efficient and more effective with what it is that we're buying. And so we are looking for additional foundations that can assist us. And one of the things that I say when somebody comes in and says, here's $20, I'm sorry it's not more, but I'd like to make a donation. And I say, great, this is awesome, because this is 6 meals. You just provided 6 meals for a senior. And so it's, there's almost a week worth of meals for one of our seniors. And so I try to always equate that back to, here's how many meals you just provided. And if we can get, a $500 here or $1,000 here, it all adds up, and it gets to that point where we are able to make sure that we can continue to provide for those who need it, and still be a source of socialization and I dare say warmth and friendliness for our people that come in and they want to just have a nice warm place to come and visit with their friends.
Oh, you shouldn't dare say warmth and friendliness. That really is among the premier offerings at the Terrace at Ruby View. And if folks just want to hang by themselves, that's fine too, but there's a lot of socialization. You're right, Matt, that goes on. And the overall goal is about healthy living, because we know that if any segment of our population isn't healthy, that's if there's a demographic that, is unhealthy, then that increases cost for everybody. I mean, if you're just the person listening saying, well, I take care of myself, but honestly, we all pitch in. We all bear the cost of, increased insurance costs, medical costs, for example, right? It's kind of about leveling the playing field.
Absolutely. And it is. If we can help our folks to be healthier longer, then it does reduce overall that situation and that cost to society. And, one of the things that is why we really try to encourage people to come to the congregate dining room, and why you have to be homebound in order to get the Meals on Wheels, is because it is a proven fact that folks that socialize, that folks get out of their house, do live a healthier, longer life. And so because of that, it does make an impact. And we want to be able to see people. We are, even the most introverted of us is still a human being, and as a species, we are a societal species. We are not, we're not the lone wolf. The lone wolf doesn't really exist even in nature. I mean, the lone wolf dies. That's why, they have packs. But My wife watches a lot of zoo shows when she gets the opportunity. She doesn't like the drama and some of this other stuff that comes on TV, so she watches these zoo shows, and it's funny because they say that lions are the only big cat that are a pride of lions. They're societal. All other big cats are usually solitary. And so we're kind of the lions. We like having our pride.
Oh,
our
very
family
nice.
pride.
Yes, family pride for sure. At the Terrace at Ruby View, 1795 Ruby View Drive, 775-738-3030, elcoseniors.org. So if there's something you need to dial in to get more information, and you're a great resource for people that just need information too. Maybe someone's concerned about a neighbor or a loved one. You even get calls from people out of state who say, can you check on my aunt? Things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a good relationship, and we can make sure that our drivers, as they're going out to the Meals on Wheels, that they're checking on people. And then when we get nervous and we can't get a hold of one of our members, or if somebody says, hey, I haven't heard from them in such and such time, then we try to make those calls and make those contacts. We contact their emergency personnel or emergency contacts to their family members or friends. And when that doesn't happen, our emergency services team here in the Elko County, they do an amazing job. We're able to call Elko Dispatch and do a welfare check. They're always they respond in a short amount of time. They get back to us and let us know that, yes, the door was locked and they were asleep and they, didn't hear you, or, there's nobody home. We haven't, there's no cars, there's nothing. It looks like the place has been locked up and shuttered for a couple of days, and that happens too. And so eventually we find, oh, okay, they went out of town, or maybe they did have to go to the hospital. So we do track them down, but we try to be a resource for folks. And I kind of look at us as somewhat of a spoke of a wheel. And we may not have all of those answers, but we know where to send people and make sure that they're getting the information that they need.
Thanks, Matt. And I appreciate the additional time to just explain to people that the Terrace is so much more than just a place to go for meals or bingo or other special events, because we know those are wildly popular, but it's also a place to make these important, deep connections to improve the quality of life and the health of our aging seniors, people who are aging in our community. So,
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I know you probably brought things on your list you want to make sure we mention. Are we getting to those today?
Absolutely. And I want to start off with tomorrow night, twofold. One, we have bingo at the center tomorrow night in Elko, and it's going to start at 5:30. So doors open at 5, and then bingo will start at 5:30. However, if you would like to donate your time, if you would like to volunteer, the volunteer fair is also tomorrow night. And this is going to be at the museum. It's in conjunction with Nevada Volunteers, with AmeriCorps, and with the Elko Area Chamber of Commerce. There are going to be more than 20 nonprofits there that if you are looking to give some time, if you are looking to be able to support one of our nonprofits, please go to this event. It's 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the museum. And we'd love for all of our community. Imagine if everyone in the community over the span of a year was able to give 20 hours over the span of a year. That's not that much. 2 hours for 10 days over the span of the year, that's not that much, but imagine the impact that would have on our community, what our organizations, our nonprofit organizations could do with that type of volunteer force. And so please do try to make the time if you can tomorrow, 5 to 7 at the museum, and that's the Elko Volunteer Fair.
Oh, thanks, Matt, for the plug. Can you imagine just taking that time that you might be otherwise scrolling cat videos? I mean, we could all use less time on social media. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And speaking of volunteers, we have an amazing group of volunteers. And April was Volunteer Appreciation Month. And so we, once a year, have our Volunteer Appreciation Dinner. And it's a wonderful event. This year we had more than 100 people attend, and we have been so blessed. We had more than 7,700 hours of volunteer work. And based on what the national average is, that equated to over $250,000 in value. It's amazing what that equates to. And that's what I'm talking about with just a little bit of assistance from the community, how that benefits some organizations. We would not be able to do any of the programs that we do outside of our meal program without our volunteers. We have volunteers that serve those that have mobility issues in our dining room. We have volunteers that serve our folks that go through the drive-through. Our volunteers lead our stretch and strength programs and our Tai Chi programs and our Bible study. They do our card games. They do our library. All of the other activities that happen are support groups. This Friday is the cancer support group. That's all done by volunteers. We don't have the staff to be able to do that. And this equates to, I think it's 2/3 of our total salary of what we spend for our staff. And so they've almost doubled our workforce just in the volunteers. And so we're so thankful for them, for everybody that volunteers at the senior center.
And again, it can be as little as a couple of hours here and there, or you can certainly commit more time. And we've seen that in the past, Matt, that some people are just super comfortable and enthusiastic. And once they start volunteering with any particular organization, they are. So I think about Mr. Thurston and the work that he did with speech and debate. I don't know if did you recall that? I mean, yeah.
I know of Mr. Thurston's work on that. I was never in speech and debate, but yes, absolutely. It's these community members, that find a passion and are able to give a few hours here or there, and maybe that does work into one of our volunteers works 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. He is always there helping us. And maybe that is a passion that it develops into. But we also have other people that for the entire year only, was able to give 10 or 20 hours. And all of that adds up. And so we are so thankful for that.
Matt, thank you again for the reminder. You can find out more about volunteering with the Terrace, I'm sure, during tomorrow night's volunteer fair from 5 to 7.
Because of bingo, we actually won't have someone there. We could probably have a volunteer there, but honestly, what we're looking at is we sometimes don't have enough supply to meet the demand for our volunteers sometimes. And so we thought this is a good opportunity to help support our other nonprofits. I was really hoping that we might be able to get there and prior to the actual the public event, there's another smaller event that we might be able to still attend and help out with other nonprofits or perhaps share some best practices that may work well for us, pick up some best practices that work well for others. So we won't be there, but there are so many deserving organizations in our community that could certainly use the help.
Yeah, you're talking about that meet and greet. I think that's also a great opportunity for the nonprofits to meet each other and say, oh, here's some overlap, or here's some areas we can collaborate, and we can really strengthen these relationships, again, to benefit the group or the mission that we're really looking to benefit. I know it's a saying, and I don't know who said it first, but I do believe that we are better when we are together than when we do things.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
So, very cool.
I also want to do a quick shout out.
You take your
with
time.
With other partners and other partnerships that we've developed. We have been blessed to have a good partnership with the Heroes Have Heart group, and that's coming up. We've got another few months, but they've helped us out tremendously. And the Just Serve group, which is part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they have done a tremendous job for us. During COVID, they really stepped up to help get food out to people. When we had the center shut down for meals, we were still able to give out non-perishables and even cheese and butter. It was amazing what they were able to provide. And they really stepped up for us again with our volunteer appreciation dinner. We had something lined up that we thought was going to work. It turned out that it didn't. And within 24 hours, we had, if I recall correctly, I think it was 14 young members of the church come in, 14 missionaries come in, as well as three adults that came in, and they allowed it so that none of our volunteers had to go unserved and unrecognized. And so we were able to really have them sit down and enjoy their meal, and we were able to clear plates. Right. Yeah, they didn't have to be the ones that were doing the volunteer work. And so I really am so thankful for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the missionaries that came out. They did a wonderful job with little to no notice, and they really came together quite well.
Oh, Matt, that's terrific news. JustServe.org is the website. And so you can go there if you're in need of some service, or you are looking to match with a service. I know that website works both ways. They can match people with opportunities and vice versa. So JustServe.org, and that is 24/7, 365. So,
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yep. And again, one of those areas that our community can help make those connections and serve where they need to serve.
And doesn't it make you feel great to live in a community like that? I mean, sometimes it seems like we focus on the negative, but there's so much more that we can really appreciate about our community, and
Absolutely.
including a fun bingo tomorrow night.
That's right. Yes, including bingo. We hope that if you're not going to the volunteer fair, that you're going to be able to come over and join us for bingo. We greatly appreciate that. And again, these partnerships that just sometimes pop up. We had a shipping error where our bingo packets were not going to be received in time for bingo, and we didn't have enough that we were going to be able to meet the demand of what we've been seeing. And so the Igloo, we called over to the Igloo. We know that they have bingo every now and then in the falls. And so we called up, and they said, yeah, we've got some packets. We'll go ahead and get them over to you. So we are so thankful to Matt over at the Igloo and being able to help us get through this gap where we're going to get them probably Fridays so we can get them right back to him. And he said, I don't need them till the fall when we have our bingo. So it's just these little connections that, again, makes our community so great. And that's one of the reasons that I love living here and try to extol the virtues of Elko everywhere I go.
It really is about the people. Some things may not be so pleasant, like the weather at times, but it's all about the people. I just remind everyone all the time, you guys, you think it's a dusty town, you drive through, but you know what? It's all about what's the heart. We still have more churches than bars, as far as I know.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah.
There is that.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with either one. It's no judgment there. It's just an observation that, just because we don't hear about them all the time. So in Spring Creek, you're going to have bingo next week.
Yeah, we'll have Spring Creek bingo in Spring Creek on Wednesday of next week. And so that'll be Wednesday the 15th. Out in Spring Creek, we want to give folks a little bit more time to come over the hill if they work in town, or if they live in town and they want to drive over the hill. And so in Spring Creek, the doors open at 5:30 and the game starts at 6. And that's the Spring Creek bingo. In Elko, it's a half hour earlier. Doors open at 5. Game starts at 5:30. And the club out in Spring Creek does a great job of helping us with getting our folks fed and getting some liquid refreshments in them. And so we're really appreciative of that partnership. Because we don't have the facility that we do in town. In town, we can provide nachos and hot dogs and chips and soda and all the other fun stuff. But the club does a good job for us, so we appreciate the serving staff out there. They always keep our folks going and bring the food into the room while they're calling bingo. They're still delivering, their flatbread pizzas or their chicken tenders or whatever it may be. So we really appreciate that.
And that's at the golf course, right?
It is at the golf course. Yeah.
Cool.
Spring Creek Association allows us to utilize their boardroom. And so we are thankful for that partnership as well. And every now and then we have to open up the door and expand into the club's dining room. And as long as all of their patrons are out in the bar area, then that doesn't pose a problem. And so again, we're just thankful that there's that flexibility.
Well, I know Spring Creek appreciates, as does Elko, the Meals on Wheels, because you were able to expand. And in fact, I think recently when we spoke, you're on the verge of yet another expansion because you got another vehicle.
That's right. In fact, we are looking, we've had some of our vehicles going through the shop, making sure that we've got all of our maintenance taken care of, and we hope that this week we'll get all of our vehicles kind of signed off and checked off on. We may not start next week, but certainly the week after, we will have 2 trucks running in Spring Creek, and we'll have four Meals on Wheels trucks running throughout the Elko Spring Creek area, twice what we had just 3 short years ago. So we are so thankful for the the State of Nevada Aging and Disability Services Division and the grants that they've been able to provide us for those 2 extra trucks that are dedicated to Spring Creek and the seniors that we have out there.
Wow, just think about all the lives that have been improved because you came into leadership and had the vision, and you have the small but dedicated staff, Matt. This is huge.
We have a wonderful staff. We have terrific volunteers, as we've already mentioned, and we have a really supportive board, a board that gives direction when needed, and when the staff has ideas and when we see growth opportunities and we present that to the board says, yes, let's find a way to make that work. And so I'm so blessed to have the board that we do.
Yeah, you do have a great board of directors. There are some movers and shakers on there, and they are very passionate about all the things that they do. So that's great. That's all you can really ask for, right? So,
absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to let the community know that we are looking at a vaccination clinic probably in July. This is a little bit later than we wanted to do. Unfortunately, Immunize Nevada lost some funding, a significant portion of their funding, and so they had to pull back a little bit with what we were anticipating those partnerships to be for now. And we look forward to them being able to rebuild and get back out into this area. But in the meantime, we are going to work with Nevada Health Centers, and so we're going to have a vaccination clinic in July with the intention of offering a whole bunch of vaccines, pneumonia and shingles and RSV, influenza. July is not necessarily too early for influenza, tetanus, and of course COVID-19.
Okay, so that'll be an opportunity, and you'll hear more about it here and look for more information, but it's coming in July likely. And then you can consult with your own physician, or, that's a really good point, Matt, that if someone isn't receiving regular medical care, there are any number of resources, references, and referrals through the Terrace at Ruby View.
Absolutely. Today, and today was the last of the final of our 4 visits from Great Basin College nursing students. They've done a terrific job over the past few months, and we're looking at being able to bring them back in to do more hands-on, simple health checks, blood pressure and pulse, those kind of simple, easy things that, again, some people may not go to the doctor on a regular basis, and they may not realize that your blood pressure is not as healthy as you think it is, and so hopefully that will help them to get some of the more in-depth medical care that they may need, again, to have that healthier, longer life.
Thanks, Matt. Matt McCarty is our director of the Terrace at Ruby View, the Senior and Active Lifestyle Center. And I see you have another opportunity in front of you to talk about.
I do, yes. So again, and this happens to be through Just Serve and through the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They have worldwide, the church has these vending machines, and they call it the giving machine. And so you walk up to the giving machine, and in there, instead of perhaps getting a Twinkie or a bag of Doritos, it will say, purchase a hen for a family, or purchase a goat, or it'll say, buy a pair of new shoes for a youth, or we need a soccer ball, whatever it may be. And so you walk up to the machine and you say, this is an organization I'd like to support, and this is how I'd like to support them. Elko my understanding is Elko is the smallest community that has ever been able to receive one of these. And so we are in partnership with the Reno area as well. At the end of this year, be on the lookout for this giving machine. It's going to be pretty cool. There's going to be a number of nonprofits that are going to participate. We have submitted at the Elko Senior Center, we have submitted a grant proposal, but whether we get it or not, this is just a really cool idea to be able to walk up to something and be able to say, okay, yes, perhaps Fish gets something and Fish says, for $10 we can provide a box of food for a week. I'm just making things up. I don't know the value. I don't know if Fish is participating or even what they may offer, but that could be something that you say, yeah, let me run my credit card, and then as it vends, it's this little card, kind of like a DVD disc container, and it comes out and then it drops to the bottom. It doesn't actually vend out anything, but then people walking by can see that, oh, look at all these people or all these things that have been purchased and supported by people in our community. So I'm really excited to look into that.
Wow, that is that is the first time I've heard of the giving machine. What a fantastic idea. And it is a tangible thing, but it's not as though, when you have the means and you can give something, you're not expecting something back.
Right.
Yeah, you just get that gratification, that satisfaction of knowing you met a specific need, because
Absolutely.
that does feel good.
And 100% of this comes back to the donor or to the organizations. The church is not keeping anything. The church is actually supplying the device itself, the machine. They're covering all of the credit card fees. So 100% goes back to the nonprofits. And some of the things that we had suggested from the senior center, if we are selected, all revolve around meals. And it's here's $3 for the senior portion of a meal in the dining room, or $7.50 to cover the actual cost of a meal. We also have $10 for I think we had said for a day's worth of emergency shelf-stable meals. Because in the event that, Lord forbid, we have a massive blizzard one winter and it prevents us from being able to deliver meals, but perhaps we've also lost our power grid. Or maybe the Southwest Gas has, something happens downline and we can't use gas to be able to heat food up and meals up. We have shelf-stable meals for those members that may need them. And so that was one of the things that we said in there. So, okay, here's $10 to buy a day's worth of shelf-stable meals, a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. So just simple things that, again, like you had said, nobody's getting anything back other than the gratification of knowing that they're supporting other members within our community.
Well, that's super cool. Thanks for sharing that, Matt. And now I'm going to look forward to hearing about that. And I'm sure our friend Terry Clark from the Northeastern Nevada Regional Hospital will keep us posted. I'm sure she's involved. You're nodding.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. Miss Clark, Miss Terry has done a great job on that, and Miss April Howard also is very involved with that in the Just Serve. And so we're very thankful for those partnerships. And just wanted to again say, be on the lookout for it. It'll be towards the end of the year is what we're anticipating. And but I was just really excited about that, so I wanted to make sure to bring that up.
Well, I could see why you're excited, and thank you for sharing, Matt. That's a terrific idea. Maybe right around Christmas, that would be wonderful. So yes. And anything else that's on your list for this time? Because I know we'll visit again soon.
A very happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers that are out there. Thank you so much for being you, for being able to be a mom, and whether it's biological or not, we have so many mothers out there that I hope everyone takes just a minute to whether it's to say thank you in person or send a prayer, whatever it may be. Without moms, we wouldn't be here. So very happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Thank you, Matt McCarty, Director of the Terrace at Ruby View, our senior and active lifestyle center. Thank you, listeners, for joining us today.